This is Amma. She turned the product she started with her last £100 into £10 million in 3 years. But what will shock you is she got fired from her sales job during the pandemic and she decided to create a product to solve a problem that she was facing, which is thinning edges and hair loss. And the craziest thing happened. Her followers started asking for the product. And before she knew it, she had made £100,000 within 6 months from just one small portion of hair oil and £100. From her mom's kitchen to getting featured on BBC UK, Vogue, BuzzFeed, Business Insider, and 190,000 customers globally. This is the story of how Amma defeated every hurdle thrown at her, and she has built an 8-figure brand in 3 years. So in this episode, we talked about how starting PLANTMADE was life-changing, how it's like to be a minority in this industry, being black, a woman, and an immigrant in the UK, getting a cease and desist letter, becoming resourceful even when she had no resources, how launching your own brand grants you celebrity status, what she would do differently if she were to start, if she was to build a new brand, plus so much more. And I hope you find value in this. So get your notes and paper right now, because this is about to be very, very juicy. This is someone I've watched build from scratch to what it is today. Let's get into it.
Putting yourself out there, it just yields a certain level of community. You feel like it doesn't exist. No one is stopping you from your bag. Hair brands started by black women. When they sell, everyone's like, sell out, disgusting. 6 figures to 7, it was 1000% the drop model that I was running at the time, and also influencers.
Sorry, once again. So being an e-commerce business owner is not a joke, right? But it's also very, very life-changing. Kylie Jenner has become a billionaire. Kanye West became a billionaire. Rihanna became a billionaire because she was able to create a product outside of her time and keep it scalable. Now, what are the things that you feel like you've learned on your journey, and what are also some of the things that you feel are less talked about but needs to be talked about, especially for us as Black people, and also in now for you as a Black woman and in the minority?
Okay, so when I'm seeing brands build today, they are, and it's not to say that it's less talked about, it's not done enough. Putting yourself out there and being the face of your brand, it just yields a certain level of community. It yields a certain level of celebrity almost, which is, and I'm not saying that in a boastful way. I'm saying that in a good way, because if a person walks down if I walk down the street in Shoreditch, I'm gonna be noticed. I know I will, and it gives me a signal on where my brand is at in that area. Like I know every time I go to Shoreditch, I get recognized. Great, but every time I go to Covent Garden, no one knows who I am. What? Who are those kind of people that are in Shoreditch versus Covent Garden? Different people. Okay, cool. I need to work on my thing. But then also it's like, oh my gosh, Amma. Oh, I saw your Instagram ad. That's crazy. This is you. That's a face to the product. That's a face to the brand. That can't be done with P&G's products. That can't be done with Unilever's products. That can't be done even with Apple's products. You're never gonna find Tim Cook anywhere. Never going to be accessible. But if you can find me, it's humanized. It's way more accessible to the person, because they know that they can relate. Oh, it's just like, I'm just like you. That's crazy. I just happen to be doing this and you do your job. That's great. And then also being able to be a source of being an educator to the customers as well. They come to me and they know, okay, I just need to ask you just one quick question so that I can make a decision to buy from you right now. You've just got certain leverage that you wouldn't get with being a faceless brand, and it's tough, especially being a Black brand owner. I know why people don't do it is because of evil eye. It's because of evil eye, and people don't necessarily want to be known. If anything went wrong with the brand, they don't want anyone to say their name. The thing is, that's going to happen anyway. Like, if you're a brand owner and someone's talking bad about your brand, whether they're saying your name, Amma, or whether they're saying the brand PLANTMADE, it doesn't matter. It's still going to ban. What's the difference? And yeah, if you really want to, you can put your socials on private. But at the end of the day, like, evil eye doesn't exist. There's way too much abundance in this world for evil eye to exist. No one is stopping you from your bag. Your bag is yours regardless. Okay, your bag is guaranteed to you as long as you do the work to get it. That's how I feel.
Interesting perspective. And I share your sentiment. As someone who has built and sold two brands, two things held me back. I first felt because I was a Nigerian and I was young, that no one was going to be willing to listen to what I had to say. And two, I had acne. I mean, my face isn't still smooth until today, but that's why my take with Phoenix Watches is I'm actually going to document and show people that this is the process through which I'm building this brand, because I feel, one, it legitimizes the brand and it also cements me as an authority in the space. So when I talk about something, people know, oh yeah, he knows what he's saying because he's actually doing it. And I feel sometimes even not everyone has the intention to sell their brand. I don't have the intention to sell this brand later on. I plan to pass it to my kids and all of that. But I feel when you have your personal brand attached to your commercial brand, it makes it so easy for you to get a lot more opportunities when it comes to acquisition and margin.
Yeah.
Because people will see it and there's this trust factor of, oh yeah, they are attached to the brand, so they wouldn't want it to go bad at any point in time. Because if it goes bad, then they also have to face, the backlash and all of that. Now, we're even talking about the concept of selling brands and all of that, and you've seen brands acquired and people being called sellouts. What's your take on that, especially in the Black community?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so this was a fear of mine in the beginning, and it's weird because it's a very, very specific niche of brands, and it's beauty brand. Very specifically, it's hair and skin, but more so hair. It's more so hair. For some reason, hair brands started by Black women or Black people, when they sell, everyone's like, sell out, disgusting, crazy. And hear me out, actually. I get why they say that. I understand why the customers say that. And it's because the hands that are past these brands do not take care of the brands. They don't take care and keep the legacy of the brand, and do not respect the customer who built the brand in the first place. So you're changing up formulas and like, what do you expect? Someone's gonna cuss you out. And because it's happened so many times again and again and again, it's like, well, now people are getting scared because they're like, oh great, I'm gonna now have to dig 5,000 other brands in order to figure out the next best thing for me to be able to use what I need to use. Like, that's hard. That's hard for the customer. Me personally, the reason why I feared that is because in the beginning, it's like, well, what if you can't control that? But I believe you can control that. It just depends on who you're selling to. Now, if you're gonna sell to one of the big ones, I don't know if you even utter those words. I don't know if they're gonna respect it respectfully. I don't know if they're gonna respect it. But a smaller firm, smaller something that can actually, respect your wishes, make sure the customer is still taken care of. Because who else? When you pass this brand on to whoever you sell to, who is going to keep the brand alive but the customers who were there before? Like that's weird. It's a weird practice. But business, what I realized is a lot of things don't make sense. People do some really stupid stuff. But for me, I will definitely be selling my business, but I will not be selling it to people. I will make sure, hopefully in 4 or 5 years when I'm ready, that there's a black fund that's ready to snatch me up. Okay, for then me to get into a place where I can create a new black fund where I could be snatching up these brands and they could be taken care of. That's the point.
Yep. You know, something is crazy. So I have a community now that I launched, which is called Ecom Accelerator. And the end goal is I will be sharing strategies and game plans with business owners, especially ecom brands, on how to get to like 25, 50 mil annually. And eventually I'll take equity in their brand, right? And then they exit, and that's how I will get to the $5 billion net worth by the time I'm 32, 35. And then we'll start investing into e-commerce brands to help them get to the next point. Because I feel like there's a gap in the market right now for this. A lot of people who come in to prey on these brand owners because they feel like, oh shit, this is payday. But then instances happen where one, they lose the founding members of the community that got the brand to where it's at, and two, they kind of have like this buyout clause where it reduces the power or the efficiency of the founding brand owner, and that just leads to like issues with the brand eventually, and sometimes the brand even gets out of business because now customers don't want it, and then the owner of the business doesn't have any say because you have to report to the board of directors. I feel like we young people who are actually doing it very, very well can get to the point where we provide access, not only, just like you said, we provide information to people who are starting out, but we also provide access to resources that helps them accelerate their journey a lot faster than when we started out. So that's kind of like my own end goal later on in the 30s, 40s. But yeah, you really talked about an amazing point. But now let's rewind back real quick. What do you think are the pivotal moments that took you from six figures to seven figures?
I think 6 figures to 7, it was 1000% the drop model that I was running at the time, and also influencers. And then 3, it would be social proof, just making sure people knew that this stuff worked and they could see the results. And the beautiful thing about when I started the business is that I already started the business with before and afters, about 10 sets of, 10 different people showing their progress. Um, from there, I leveraged that, and then it just became normal for people to keep on sharing their progress. So I just kept on reposting, and there was so many different walks of life showing their results using plant-made products. So it was great because then I was able to tap into multiple different demographics easily because that's who was using the products. Like, I wasn't making it up, but also the brand was made for everyone. It was never just a black brand, which is another thing to even touch up on because people think it is because I'm black, but no, it was made for everyone. And then the specific people that we got the products in the hands of were likes of Harry Panera and Nella Rose and a few other influencers at the time who were doing really well. I mean, they're clear now, but before they were still kind of up and coming, which is crazy. And we got them in the hands, and we were doing things like YouTube sponsorships at the time, and then also obviously Instagram. And it was probably the end of the glory days of influencer marketing in that way, where it was just a post, mention, boom. Yeah. And it was great to see because we fought for those hands to products and to talk about them. And what it is that specifically this market, beauty and wellness, is really hard for influencers to freely co-sign your product. When it comes to clothing, they will wear brands, they will wear them, they will tag, they may or may not, but they will wear it, they will showcase themselves using these products. But when it comes to beauty, it's a little bit more hush hush. and it's strange, and I still haven't figured out why. So we have to do a lot more to get that going. And also, I'd say momentum as well. Like the momentum that we built, we didn't put our foot off the gas. So we knew, okay, we made 100K in five months. Cool. Okay. How are we, how was I going to turn that into $1 million as quick as possible? And my next goal was to, in the next 7 months, create £1 million in revenue. So what I did was I got more help. I got more help in making the products. Then I got more time to figure out in the marketing strategy and figure out how much more money do we need to make and who do we need to do that with. So again, the influencers were one, pushing on organic was another. And to be fair, what organic was then and what it is now, very different things, but we did well at the time for what it required. And we kept on, being consistent. Drops, making sure that the interest was there. I was still riding off on Twitter. Every platform, I was just there, making sure that the product was being seen. I was a beg. Because you have to be a beg to be successful. It is what it is. You gotta force this thing. You can't just sit there and the success lands in your lap. You gotta make it happen.
So it looks like a skill set, belief system, and also a little bit of luck combination that got this to happen.
As it always is.
Now, if you were to look back and, okay, for those who don't have any idea, how did you even stumble upon the concept of PLANTMADE in the first place?
I was working on a men's skincare brand. It's completely random. And everyone was doing like skin DIY and hair DIY and stuff like that. And I dabbled in it before. I did like the rice water thing where I put rice and fermented it and put it in my hair. And I was like, but this is crazy. Like, it's not a sustainable thing. It's a bit too, you don't know where it's gonna go. So I decided, okay, let me fix myself in a different way. And I stumbled across Ayurveda, ancient Indian practice of medicine. And what lies is a holistic way to view wellness. They have a system for basically every part of wellness, including hair. And basically there were herbs specifically designed to help with certain problems with hair. And I'm also African, I'm Ghanaian, so there's just certain secrets we have in Ghana that, you got your shea butters and this and that as well. So I decided to mix the two up and figure out what was going on. And within 10 days, again, that was not even natural to me at the time to document things. I wasn't filming anything. Like, that was not a thing I used to do back then, but it was strange. And I guess maybe that was just God doing his thing. But I was just taking pictures and showcasing my results and posted on my Instagram. I was like, oh my gosh, guys, like I stumbled across this thing. I made it. Here are the ingredients for you to make it yourself. Because again, that was what it was. I wasn't trying to do anything. I was focused on something else. And then someone responds with me with a comment saying, oh, can I buy that? And I said, what? Like, I'm unemployed right now. It's COVID. That's crazy. Okay. So then I was like, well, who else wants it? I put it in this bottle, guys. Who wants it? I got 100 DMs. Crazy. Okay, then. Cool. So I did something. Is everyone okay? Because no one was telling me that they had issues. So we all had issues together. No one wanted to say anything. Okay. So then I just went one by one. And I decided, okay, let me do the drop model, because I was very well versed in even digital products and also clothing. The drop model, scarcity, making sure that something's desirable. So I decided to release 50. I released 50 at a certain amount. I think it was like £10. It was crazy at the time. I didn't know nothing about business back then. But it was like, I think I made 50 available at £10. And then it went. And I said, guys, that's it. The next time it comes back, it's going to be £15. And then that next set of 50 went. Okay, the next time this comes back, it's gonna be 20, guys. And that's it. In this form, in this very, un no branding, no nothing, no name. That's just, we're really dropping bottles of oil. Um, this is it. And then that was it. We turned that £100 into a grand in 10 days. And then from there, I used that grand to start the brand. So I put it into some branding, getting some labels together, also starting up the Instagram, getting some pictures done, just little things here and there. And that initial set of people were the ones who helped me with the social proof and got me before and afters before I'd even launched. So now I'm posting on Instagram upon launch with countless before and afters, and I have stories to tell. Not only myself, not only my siblings, and other family members of mine, but also people I generally had no idea. Like I never met them before. I didn't know who they were. They were buying off of Instagram because their friends were saying and passing along the message. And that was the inception. And basically, I just saw the money there versus the idea I had before with the men's skincare brand, and it going nowhere because I was doing all the copy stuff and all that. I said I'm going where the money is going, and the money is going here, and that's the direction I'm following, and that's been me ever since.
Wow. So it seems like it's a combination of imperfect action, social proof, which is testimonials from people, and also just a lot of consistency. And you were able to transform something from, an idea, and you just kept iterating over it. So this goes to people who are overthinking the entire process. Like, just start. I remember I was looking at the initial website for Gymshark. I was looking at the initial website for what's this brand? Manscaped. I
Yeah,
was looking at Dollar Shave Club. Their initial website is not the same as what it is right now. And people are always like super overcomplicating the process. Like, start where you are. You don't have to compare yourself with other people who are already in the space. You can take inspiration from them, but not necessarily overwhelm yourself to the point where you take no action. So kudos to you on that. And now, what does it feel like running, an 8 to 9 figure brand? Because like there's a huge leap you've taken in the last 4 years from the person that was fired, unemployed in the beginning of the pandemic to now where you're at. It's insane. Like I'm so proud of you. And but for those who don't know, how how do you think you've developed? Because I believe you develop as a person and then your brand develops too. Because if you
yeah,
don't experience the growth as a person, you won't experience the growth with the brand.
yeah, definitely. It's been several transitions from doing every single thing myself to then getting a little bit of help to then moving into a role where I'm like, okay, now I need to fix things all the time. And then from there, it's like, no, I can't spend my time fixing things all the time. I need to be thinking about the future. And then now I'm like, I need to be paid for my mind. I need to think this business to the 9-figure goal. Because there's just no way my hands are gonna do anything. Like they're not. Like the hands are done now, and I am transitioning out of that basically right now because it's hard as well to let go of certain things, and it's not an ego thing. It's generally like, how am I gonna feel like I'm doing something if I'm not doing something? Like, how is my job gonna be meetings and then reading and learning and then executing through your team? How is that my job now? That sounds weird, but it's like when you get to that point, that is literally what it is. And I don't have like thousands of people who work at PlantMade. It's only about 25, and also a lot of that majority is in customer service and in production roles. So the head team itself is very small. So Like, it's not like there's loads of people and loads of leverage in terms of like the staff. And I think the biggest transition has been busy work, productive work versus stuff that actually moves the business forward. There's just, it's so funny. I could spend 20 hours in a day working, and one decision made us 50 grand more that month. And all because I looked at a bit of data and I said, let's do this. And it's like, imagine if I just did that more in a day, every day, how much more that would yield us, you know? And it's not really that simple, but it's that's really what it is. That's the reality of the situation. So now I'm literally learning how to be a CEO. Have I ever been a CEO before? No. What does that role actually mean? It's not something that you just slap on. You're like, yeah, because I run a business, I'm a CEO. The reason why I've labeled myself a CEO is not because I am one, it's because I'm becoming one. Like, what I am is still a founder. What I am is the business owner. Well, that's who I am now. But who I'm becoming, who I'm trying to become, is a CEO. Someone who makes this, whose decisions make a business X amount. I think about Terrence Riley from Stanley, and I think about his past in Crocs as a CMO, and I'm like, that's the kind of consistency I'm trying to have. Like, you turned around the Crocs, then you turned around a 100-year brand into something like, can you imagine? Because your mind is that tuned in, like your head is so far gone from like reality. People just can't touch you. And there's only few people who are really like that. But I also think about even like Lego. They were close to bankruptcy, and then they put a new CEO in. He just made certain decisions. She was like, we're cutting this product line, we're gonna make movies. Okay, like, how did you even know that building a media company of toys was a thing? They did, and guess what? It's banged, and they're the only ones in 2023 out of any toy company to make a profit, to make growth. And the Barbie movie happened last year. That's crazy. Like, that's the kind of thing. So basically, I'm in the process where I'm literally studying the best who came before me at the moment, and learning and seeing what that could yield into my business, as well as dealing with the day-to-day as well.
Definitely. So, hiring, operations, and systems are key to scaling a brand. What's your least favorite thing about this?
Least favorite thing about hiring.
About
So
all three.
everything, hiring, operations, systems. So you know what? It's funny, yeah. Like, what are systems? Like, generally, like, what are they? Like, I think that was the funniest thing that I had this year, the top of the year. Like, when people say systems, what are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? It's just basically a process, isn't it? Like, there could be a literal system that's made out of tech, or it's the SOPs. Like, you know, it sounds like a lot, but like, it's not always like that deep. It's just refining a process that was happening before that just isn't scalable anymore. Like, even right now, how this is how I'm so into my business, just so bad. And as of today, I'm getting out of thing. But content creation and marketing, this is one of the main things that I do because I love marketing. But the problem is, I still storyboard and also put in editing. Like, I literally find the clips and say, hey, based on this part in the script, do X, do Y. Yeah. What kind of waste of time is that? I literally asked today, I said, hey, videographer, love you. I need you to sort out these files so that these editors can now do this, because I can't do this anymore. This is such a waste of my time. My value is more in the script. After that, I can let it go. And then there'll come a time where, okay, I need to hand over the script. Then it's just me. It's just the idea. And then it's like, oh no, then I leverage someone else's ideas on top of my ideas, because I'm never going to stop having ideas. So it's like that process. That's a process in itself. That's a system in itself. Hiring yourself out of a role. Hiring, I think it's just the candidate pool. Where are we finding you guys? And you know, I think it's more of like a network thing because I have a limited network. So some people can hire very fast and very good people. Me, it's going to take some time digging because I don't have that network. So that's like the hardest thing that I've been struggling with. And ops, it's really transforming things around. Like it takes a lot of time and you don't want to make the wrong decision. You don't want to make a move too early. But then also you don't want to like keep doing the same thing you've been doing for too long. So I think that's those are really realities I'm dealing with right now. Like right now. This is live thoughts.
No. Now, wow. That was a lot to unpack. If you were to go back in time to that younger version of yourself, not even the version of yourself that started PLANTMADE, the version of yourself that was starting a podcast, the version of yourself that was actively freelancing, and the version of yourself that got rejected or that lost a job at the beginning of the pandemic, and you could tell them three things from this current version of yourself, what would those things be?
The first thing I would say is it will work out. Like it will always work out because you was never giving up. Like I was never giving up. After I made the decision to be in business, I never gave up. So then how was I just needed to figure it out. That the second thing is that delusion will get you far and keep it up. Because it starts to go when the consequences get higher and you know you start having things that you can lose. That's where, you know, keep it up. And that's something I'm still trying to get back to, that kind of abundance mindset, even when the reality is not so abundant. And then I think the third thing is the skills, man. The skills that you built. That's why you're here. Like that's why I'm here. Them skills, me running around campus, you know, trying to market clothing brands for uni students, and me building, you know, writing copy, learning copy, all of that built this brand. All of that. And if I didn't do those things, if I didn't get inspired by Twitter and seeing all these guys doing bits and leaning into that as well, like I wouldn't be where I am. And it's crazy because there's not a lot of us that are left. And it's not even that there's not a lot of us that are left. Like who made it and how far did they make it? Because some people really like they made it in different ways. Like I think of Dan Coe, like, oh, there was a time where I had more followers than him.
Yeah.
Insane. Like Dan Coe, I can't believe we were in the same Twitter space, DMing each other, and look at where he's at now. Clear. Like, there's so many people that also just dropped off and just kind of went back to the real world, being normal and not being crazy like us. So it's just like the best thing you ever did was be on that Twitter, define that side of Twitter, that changed your life. It started it all, man.
Money Twitter.
It's so different now. It's very different now.
Very.
You got people actually doing stuff on that side of Twitter now. Wishful 18-year-olds.
Oh man. Oh, there's a part I forgot to mention. So there was a point in your journey where you made a lot of money and then you had to face changing your brand.
Yeah.
Which is a point that could break anyone. You almost lost your brand. And I'm sure there are customers you lost then that you'd never get back till date. How were you able to navigate that period? Like, what made you keep going? Because it's tough. And that's barely talked about. That was a very, very challenging period. And how were you able to navigate it?
Shutting down for 2 months, no money coming in, 6,000 square foot warehouse. At the time, I had probably like 15 people in production. That was just production. That was a lot. And I was just thinking about, well, I can't even remotely let this sink into my spirit because there's people that are counting on me. And not only that, I'm counting on me. Like this dream is actually happening. And how can we let this thing stop us from getting there? Now it looks crazy. It looks absolutely crazy. How the hell are we gonna go over this? But I just at that moment, I even removed myself out of it. Like I removed my goals and everything out of it. And the people who were in the business were the ones. I was looking at my mum, I was looking at my dad, I was looking at everybody in the business, and I was thinking, yo, I can't let them down. So let's figure it out. Gotta figure it out. Now figure out a new name, get that paperwork going, recall all the products, then recall it all. And let's get it going. I think I took a week to just figure out. I just took a week to kind of be by myself, and then I got thrown into jury duty, which was like really bad timing. Because I was like, really? I'm in the court of law at the moment, whilst like my life is in shambles right now. But actually, that's where I even came up with the name PLANTMADE. So that's even another thing in itself. It's like, you just don't know where life is going to life, but how are you going to push through? Remember us having like a brainstorming session before we sat down, we were like coming up with all these names, and I was just like, nothing feels like planted. Nothing feels like that. Nothing's giving me that. And I remember coming up with PLANTMADE, and I was like, is it too obvious? And I said, well, that's the point. That's the point. Like, no, when I say PLANTMADE, oh, they get it. Okay, fair enough. Like, that's the point. And don't you want it to be that easy? Yeah, you do. So from there, I was like, okay, cool. That name banged. Let me just use that momentum. Any sort of inspiration and momentum I could get, I'm just going to hang on to it. Because there wasn't a lot. There wasn't a lot. So whatever we could find to get us to the next level, to keep us going, that's what I did. So then from there, I literally made a plan. This is the rebrand plan. This is all the phases. Step 1, recall. Step 2, rebrand the packaging and name. 3, okay, let's change a few things. Whatever customers were complaining about, whatever customers were dealing with, what can we change and better for the relaunch? And then we even made an ending series and told the customers through storytelling that we're gonna be back. We're gonna be back and we're gonna shut down. And then we did a end of basically a shutdown sale. That also did well and carried us through. And the craziest thing about relaunching was that it was terrible. When we came back, we had actually lost a load of customers, like we did. Like when the people still say planted to me. And it's been almost 4 years. And it was only planted for 1 year. But that's just how people are. When they hear something, like, that's it. Like, so the fact that we had to rebuild all that brand equity, and can you imagine all them influencers we put money into didn't mean anything now. Couldn't use any of that. Like, we had to start again. But it's like, well, we can start again knowing that we can build this brand to 1 billion because we own everything. It was a mistake on my end. And again, it was access to information. I didn't know trademarking was that deep. I didn't know it was that deep, but it is intellectual property. You better come correct or you will find yourself in a very sticky situation. And there are serious consequences for rebranding. There really, really are. And I didn't have any social channels. I didn't have nothing personally to even like gear people to the new brand. But knowing that you can build something with ease, that was the icing on the cake. And that's definitely been helpful.
Wow, this is a whole masterclass in itself. I don't want to take too much of your time. I have just 2 more questions to ask you, and we're good to go. So, for someone who's making £100,000 a year with their brand and still figuring things out, what will be your top 3 strategic advice for them to hit 1 mil and above and stay profitable?
Gosh. Um, before launch, document everything. Hey guys, I had this idea. This is what I want to do. What do you think? Or, okay, I had a problem and I was actually able to solve it. And I decided I want to share this with the world. So I'm going to be documenting my journey in building this brand. Follow along. I'm going to rethink. Okay, cool, guys. This is the packaging. What do you think? Oh, a few tweets? Okay, cool. This is what I'm thinking. Okay, cool. Great. We're going to launch soon. Build a community before you've got a product. Find the people with the pain points before you've even got the product, because it's easy to sell. Like, you will always be profitable, because the reason why people aren't profitable is because of demand. People don't have demand, so they have to create demand, and sometimes they have to spend ridiculous amounts of money to generate that demand for their product. There's product for days. Doesn't matter. You need a market. You need community. You need people. So figure that thing out first, the hardest thing first, and then everything else will be easier. Literally, everything will be easier. So I think building a media channel towards the business before it's even been launched is the right thing to do, and keeping on that journey post-launch and leveraging, I would say, either founders or a designated person to be the face of the brand and to document the brand journey, and then the brand itself talking about the benefits, the education piece, all of that stuff. That's where marketing comes in. Like, the whole point of marketing is to drive demand for your business. You can do it for free now. You can do it for free or very, very cheap. Like, it doesn't cost much. Like, you got your phone, especially on TikTok, you don't need much. I'm even doing too much on there. I'm doing way too much on TikTok. I'm doing way too much overproduced stuff because of my perfectionism. There's been a video that banged off that I was literally eating chicken and I was talking in the camera and it popped off. I'm doing too much. Don't think you have to do too much. Like, I've literally seen a bunch of Arab girls. They built a brand called Hot Girl Snacks. Yeah, Good Girl Snacks. Sorry, that's the brand. Good Girl Snacks. They have a product called Hot Girl Pickles. They documented everything before. They were able to make 300 sales in their first drop. They're selling pickles. That's because they had great branding and they documented everything from the beginning. And they're still documenting now. They're literally proof that I'm saying what I'm saying. And I did it a little bit, and I didn't do it to their extent. And TikTok really wasn't what it is. But yeah, everyone's looking out for these pickles now. That's going to be the easiest thing. Well, now you have great momentum to build off of. And now, not only do you know how much money you need to put aside for operations and product, because you have the community to fund it. So you'll be ahead of the curve because you don't have to guess anything. You just keep on building community, keep on building demand, and the operations is going to be easier you're probably going to have a better operations than other people because you're going to have that money or guaranteed money in beforehand. And just keep on dropping it. Keep on dropping it. Drop. Yo! Keeping it sexy, keeping it cute. Come on now. I wish I could start again.
It's funny because I was like, if you can start all over again, but with the knowledge you have now, what will you do?
Oh my God. Yo. I'd make $1 million in 2 months. Like, at this point. Like, oh my God. Give it to me. Give it to me. Give it to me. I swear. People are so lucky and they don't even know. It's funny because my friend Marianne, she has a brand called Fry London, and we had a conversation a few weeks ago, and she was like, "I can't believe people think the hardest thing is starting. Like, I can't believe that's what they think is the hardest part. Starting the business, yo." it's obviously gonna be running it. It's growing it. It's keeping it up. It's keeping it alive. Those are the hardest things. Not starting. There's no rules to play by. No one cares. So you can do whatever you want. There's no stakes. Everything is in your control. There's no one to disappoint. Like, you're literally just in, like, it's the perfect place to be. But you don't know what you don't know, innit?
Exactly. Oh wow, this has been amazing. And lastly, before you leave, for people who are looking to start out like you, but they don't know what to do, what are like 3 books that you feel have been life transformational for you? One on money, one on mindset, and the last one on whatever it is you've learned that has allowed you to become the person that you are today.
Okay. Book of money. Book of money. That's really interesting. Let's start with the mindset one. The mindset one that really changed my life was Reality Transurfing. That book really blew my mind. And the funniest thing about that book is I have not finished reading it.
Because it's so voluminous.
It's so thick. It's dense. She's thick. Okay, that book was thick. But the fact that, and that's what I read before I started the business. That's what made me completely delusional. And it's funny because I always go back to it, and every time I hear the words again, I'm like, yeah, that's why I felt that way. Because the fact that it was breaking everything down and saying, well, if you truly believe you can get out of your current situation and get to the future that you want, that's it. But if you truly believe, not if you kind of, sort of, maybe, no. And the funny thing is, the universe will catch you out. The universe will catch you out, give you certain feelers, and if you don't take them, then oh yeah, you're bluffing. It's very easy to know. I even now these days I see it all the time. Like, I'll have one high, like, nah, we're gonna be okay, and then the next like 5 minutes something happens and I'm finished again. I'm going for anxiety and all that. Yeah, I was bluffing. To be unfazed by what problems, so you're so neutral because you just know, like, you're good. That is a level of mindset that's hard to keep up, but when you're there, whoa, crazy stuff happens to you. Unwavering belief. Everyone should be working towards that. Money. It's a bit of a cop out, but like the initial book that got me on this path of wanting to be an entrepreneur is Rich Dad Poor Dad. I have read better books after. And is that one about money? I don't know. But what's the book about the devil? Cheating the devil. What's it called?
Outwitting the devil.
Outwitting the devil. I don't know if that's about money or not. I mean, I feel like it is, but it's not. Maybe it's also a mindset, but that one always gets me. Whenever I read that, oh my God, it always gets me. I'm like, damn, it's true. It's true. I feel like it's about money. It's just the way like they present people who are in an abundance. I mean, it's not like breaking down X, Y, and Z. And to be fair, is Rich Dad Poor Dad that either? No. Well, okay. Specifically money-wise, I'd probably say $100 million Offers by Alex Hormozi. That definitely in the last year and a half helped me get to where I am, like past 10 million. The game was serious. The game was also not even tailored towards e-commerce. Yeah. So you can only imagine a real e-commerce version of that he would have made billionaires. He should. Alex, please, if you see this, I beg. Just a quick ecom edition, that'd be great. And one book that I really, really love is called The Alchemist. I'm sure a lot of people have read it. But that book, every time I read that book, I'm like, yo, I'm that. I could do it. It's mine to take. It's mine to take. And he just went through so many challenges, and he crossed so many paths, and unsure, but the real physical presentational journey that all of us are taking, I guess, spiritually. I know it might be, if it was a physical path, maybe it would be easier because we can see where we're going, you know, but it's not. That's the hardest thing. You have no idea where you're going. Like, you know where you want to go, but you don't know what's coming. And I think that's the craziest thing about life, is that it's not about you making mistakes all the time or doing stuff. It's more so about how you react to everything that's thrown, randomly at you. And how do you keep on fighting for what you want regardless? I think that's the hardest thing. Those who won, they're the ones that are acting in spite. And that's it, literally acting in spite. Doesn't matter what, in spite, I'm doing it. In spite my feelings, in spite my emotions, in spite of this crazy thing that's just coming, despite, in spite of it, I'm still journeying on. The Alchemist. Bad man book.
Yeah, it's crazy because whenever I think of the three books that got me started, The Alchemist always comes up. Relentless by Times Grover. Really, really great book. And then if we're talking about mindset, I think The Courage to be Disliked. Because anyone who
I've
wants,
heard that's good.
yo,
I might need to put it on my list.
we come from African backgrounds where you tend to be a people pleaser. But the moment you're able to say fuck you to every and anything that doesn't align with where you want to be, 100%, like, it changed everything for me. Especially knowing that, oh yeah, it was only my mom that was supportive of my dreams. My dad was like, nah, you would end up coming back to find a job. Today, I've never written a CV. I don't even know how to write a resume. I was asked when I went to the US consular last year about my CV. I said, I hire people. I've never been in a company or worked for a company. And it's crazy. I've just been delusional, like you said. Delusional. I was recording a video at 15 saying, I'm going to be the best in the world at what I'm doing. Not like I had the best of everything, but hey, I made the best of what I had. So, anyways, thank you for this. Thank you for this. So, for those who are looking to find out how to, follow along the journey with your brand and with you, where should they go?
Yeah. So PlantMade, find PlantMade at weareplantmade.com or We Are PlantMade on all socials. And then me, I'm Amma, AMAA __ on Twitter and Instagram. And then on TikTok, I'm just Amma Amoyji, AMOAGYI. Yeah, and I'm just literally showing in real time what I'm doing.
Definitely, definitely. Let me just pop this up on the screen so anyone who is watching this right now can know where to go support. If you're watching this and you're looking to get an AK brand product, this is the brand to go with. Let me actually pop my entire screen. So go here. This is We Are Plant Made. It's black owned, created with the best products, and I hope you go follow this, go blow up the brand, and go support my sis. She's been amazing. I've known her for 6 years now, and this is also the founders' website. This is a page, so follow up with a page. I'm also going to add the details in the description. Thank you for tuning in to this episode on the Spotlight. If you have anyone who is doing exceptional for themselves and would like to be on an episode, shoot me a message on Instagram or drop a comment in the description. I'll see you in the next episode. Still recording.